I welcome you all to the special exam focus session for SBL. In this exam, we are going to explore the pre-seen material for the December 2023 attempt. And the purpose of this session is not to question spot, not to identify in advance what is likely to be tested in the exam, but this is more of about drawing some inferences on what could potentially be tested. So let us have a walkthrough of this SBL exam. I understand that you people are extremely busy with your preparation for the exam. So I'll try to keep this session on spot and to the point so that you derive the maximum possible benefit. First thing to keep in mind is that this pre-seen information will be available to you. This information will be available in the exam. This will be available on exam day. You don't need to take this hard copy to the exam room. You will have this in your question paper. And this is for the December 23 exam. So let us have a look at, it's an 11-page document. And this is the contents page where you have the introduction. You have been supplied with the industry information. You have been given the industry information, and then you have been given the company information. Uh, so there are like three main sections. Let us have a look at each of these. The first part is the introduction part. And in the introduction part, we are told about the company that it is a well-known cloud service company operating in far land, uh, a developed country. It's a developed country, so there's a demand strength for many technological companies. This is founded by three software engineers. The company has grown dramatically. The founding directors are committed, and currently they are the CEO, the commercial director, and the operations director on the board. Then you have the industry information. This is an important part. Industry information, when you get the industry information, there could probably be something on Porter's five forces or Porter's diamond that could be irrelevant. When I first have a look at the industry information, these are the two popular frameworks that come to my mind. One of these could be the subject of the exam. So the cloud service companies, they offer the data storage facilities, and then there's a competitive pricing strategy has been used, and the industry is growing. The demand is increasing. So this is a sign of, for instance, less competitive rivalry, because when market is growing, when industry growth is high, that means competitive rivalry is low. So this is a takeaway that you need to take from here. Then you have been given some statistics regarding the percentage of client data stored in the cloud. In far land, it's 38%. Globally, it's more. Then the revenue generated by all cloud service providers, that's like $8.3 billion for Farland. Globally, it's $155 billion. And top 10 cloud service companies' share of the market is 85%. They have 85%. The top 10 companies, they have like 85% of this share. So that means competitive rivalry could be high because there looks like there are few equally balanced competitors. Few equally balanced competitors are indicative of a high competitive rivalry. So there's conflicting evidence. Cloud service models. Now there are three service models to clients. One is infrastructure as a service. The other is platform as a service. And the third one is software as a service. So either they provide the infrastructure or the platform or the software, and the details are provided. Then the scope of services is also defined for each of the service models. So what does infrastructure covers? These three things. Platform covers these three things, and then the software, it covers all of these. Then you have the cloud service delivery. The service delivery model, that's either a public cloud or a private cloud or a hybrid cloud. So there are three cloud service delivery models that you have been clarified. Then what's good for the clients in these cloud services? What are the benefits that the clients can get? Those have been talked about here, the importance. Now, this is potentially some information that you would then have to relate with the company in question. With the company that you would have been given in question, you would have to relate it with that information. Then the industry challenges and the developments in far land. That is what you need to see. The sector is growing very rapidly, and the competition within the industry is likely to change. Clients' demands becoming more challenging to satisfy. So if I look at it from a Porter's Diamonds perspective, so the nature of home demand conditions are good to prepare you for the international challenges. For the international market, you are being prepared. That's one way of looking at it. Then you're also told that more global competition is emerging. So the industry may be dominated by a small number of large, well-established IT companies. Now that is going to increase the degree of competitive rivalry. Clients are highly dependent on a reliable high-speed interconnection for internet connection. Although this is not currently an issue, as there are a number of different, it is critical that farland internet and broadband infrastructure keeps pace with demand. So related and supporting industries, guys, there are hints apparently for Porter's Diamond over here, because internet is a related and supporting industry. So we found nature of home demand conditions. We found related and supporting industries. We have also gained some idea regarding the currently that is fine. There's a constant risk from hacking, data loss and distributed denial of service. Regulatory requirements are evolving. So from a pestle perspective, this could pose a legal risk, costly and onerous. constant demand for highly skilled and technically knowledgeable employees to work within cloud service. However, the availability of suitably qualified staff for this rapidly growing sector means that they are in short supply and very costly to employ. So, resources in the Porter's diamond, the factor conditions, this is basically connected with the factor conditions of Porter's diamond, if you're able to link it, because I'm going to discuss it from whatever models or frameworks could potentially be linked over here. Then cloud service innovation. We're also told about that. Now, some critical success factors. These are the critical success factors that have been defined, like business intelligence, quantum computing, and the details of these are also provided so that you can link it. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, these are the areas that have been touched upon. So these are the critical success factors. I mean, in these areas, uh, companies in far land would actually have to excel, or NC Tech would have to excel. And each of these have been defined so that you can link it properly. Then after the critical success factors, you have been given some operational and financial KPIs. Operational and financial KPIs have been defined like service availability, for which the target is 100% capacity utilization, service reliability, security breaches. This is how you measure your operational performance in this area, right? And then from the perspective of financial KPIs, you have the average revenue per client, average revenue per user, for instance, operating profit margin, return on capital employed, security breaches. Now, security breaches has been parked in operational KPIs as well as in financial KPIs, because there could be a financial impact of security breaches in terms of compensation paid to affected clients, in terms of lost revenue from the future business. So it has been parked in both. Now here is the end to the industry information. Now, after covering the industry information, the pre-scene information gives you data about NC Tech. The information is about NC Tech. There's some background information about the company, that it was established some 10 years ago by software engineers. There's rapid growth. Rapid growth was seen as a great opportunity for them, and it targets a wide client base of small to medium-sized companies throughout far land. So currently, the company's operations are restricted to far land. Comprehensive, so potentially there could be a question on evaluation of acquisition of a company outside far land. This is just an inference that I'm trying to draw from the information that has been given. This may not be the case necessarily, but then this is the inference which we can draw. NC Tech provides comprehensive data storage facilities, a range of servers, data, and all that stuff. One important thing is that NC Tech has never offered the platform or the software service model. So it's on the basic service level model. That's basically, uh, we would have to go back to connect it over here, that the company is providing this infrastructure, this and this is not being provided. So basically data servers, data storage facilities, network resources is all that it is providing. So a relative lack of experience in this area could be an issue. You need to keep that in mind, that a relative lack of experience in this area could be an issue. So you need to note that. No experience. So probably this means that, for instance, if you were to grow outside farland, then acquiring a company, if you would be considering acquiring a company which is already in this field, you would probably be looking for a company that has experience in SaaS or PaaS models, service delivery models. Then comes in the ownership. You have support from the venture capitalist, which was repaid when NC Tech listed on Fowler. So it's a listed company that we're talking about, which means I haven't gone through the case study, but I expect that there's going to be something on corporate governance. I should be expecting something on corporate governance here. Now, each of the three original shareholders still has a 10% stake in NC Tech, like 30%, and the remaining are by the institutional investors, and no single shareholder holds more than 10% equity, which means it's not an insider model, it's not a family-owned business. And we have already talked about their positions. The current board membership has not changed in the last 5 years. Last year has been problematic for the company. So we need to figure out some problems. We already understand that there are no dominant shareholders. So there's limited influence from any one group. Then you have been given the vision, mission, and the corporate values of the company. And that is to be one of the leading cloud service providers in Farland. And the mission is, this is the vision, and the mission is to constantly achieve operational excellence, differentiate, develop and maintain the brand, develop sustainable relationships, maintaining a profitable business model. So these are the aspects, whatever. So you have to differentiate, you have to achieve operational excellence, brand, sustainable relationships, profitability. Now, these are the aspects that you need to keep in mind when answering any of the questions. For all questions, whenever you would be evaluating something in the paper, whenever you would be giving a recommendation in the paper, please keep in mind that you need to keep the vision, the mission, and the corporate values of NC Tech in mind, right? So the core values of grasping energy, grasping opportunities, excellence, doing things better than others, excitement, and ethics. These are the aspects that you need to keep in mind for all questions. For all questions, this information would be relevant. You shouldn't be making a suggestion, or you shouldn't be evaluating things which are contrary to their vision, mission, and values. Then we have the board structure, which means they want you to do some evaluation of the corporate governance environment, of the corporate governance tone. There's a non-executive chair, there are non-executive directors, and there are the executive directors. You have been told about 4 subcommittees. The audit committee, it has 3 non-executive directors, strong background in finance, good. Nominations committee, non-executive chair, all non-executive directors. Remuneration committee, 3 non-executive directors, with HR director providing the members with professional guidance. Risk committee, 2 non-executive directors, and commercial operational directors. So you have been told about the committee. And an important piece of information has been given that it is compliant with the corporate governance code. Then comes in the favorite area of the examiner, which is known as the risk register. You have been told about the risk register over here. And that means you're going to see something on risk management in the exam as well. There's going to be something on risk management, controls, or evaluation of the risk register itself, maybe. Register of principal risks is maintained by NCTech. Risk committee determines the nature and extent of the risks NCTech is willing to accept. The risk committee is also responsible for maintaining and monitoring the systems of internal control and risk management. Risk management activities are coordinated by a team led by a risk manager who reports to both the operations directors and to the chair of the risk committee. Then you have been told about the principal business risks, like the competitive threats, new entrants, technological obsolescence, market pressures affecting pricing, staffing concerns like loss of key personnel, bypassing procedures, controls, regulatory breaches. Now you need to see how these closely relate to your operations. For example, security breaches, that's a huge concern. That's why you saw it in both the financial and the operational KPIs. Technology issues, lack of internet availability, service availability, virus contamination, data security, unauthorized access to the client data, data breach, distributed denial of service attack, and regulatory changes, new regulations introduced by farland authorities. Now, this is something there's a possibility that you would be expected to talk about some controls that entity has in place, or maybe in an exam, you could be given some incidents, some breaches that have happened, and you would have to evaluate them. Then you could be the current strategic position. Current strategic position, that is some sort of a SWOT analysis, has already been done for you to the extent of strengths and weaknesses. Opportunities and threats are already discussed in the industry section. So, and some of the opportunities and some of the threats have also been discussed in the risk register. So here you have been told about the recent findings. The strengths are a good reputation, relationship with clients, secure, reliable services which are competitively priced, and a competent workforce. While the weaknesses, if we look at the weaknesses, the infrastructure service model has never changed. So it restricts growth potential. Then several large overseas cloud service companies have recently entered the farland market. And this is going to create problems, especially if they have those resources. of platform and infrastructure service model. Retention of key members is deteriorating. Financial performance is worsening, and there's too much dependency on internet service providers to enable clients to access the NCTech infrastructure system. So over dependency on those suppliers may be an issue if the internet services are not appropriate. Then you have been given the performance dashboard, which shows how the performance has somehow been negatively impacted, in that you would see a decline in revenues, a decline in the gross profit margin, the profit before tax number, profit has also reduced, and the return on capital employed has also gone down. So there would be some issues definitely in the business that are going to create some trouble for you. As for the operational performance, you have been told that the reported security breaches, they have actually gone down, which is a good thing. Then the service availability to clients, that has improved. Client average satisfaction rating out of 100, that has gone up. And the market share, if we look at the market share, that has slightly reduced. So this is one negative sign. The rest are all, I would say, positive. So these are some of the key points that you need to take note of when solving the paper. This information would be available to you, and it is very important that you link it with the specific issues in the scenario. Remember, in the exam, you would be told with the real issues. I mean, the examiner hasn't told you the key issues that NCTech is actually facing, hasn't hinted much towards them. So it's all inferential. Now, the real issues would be there in the exam, but through this session, I've tried to give you a flavor and a focus of what to expect on the exam day, and how the different information that has been provided in this exam paper, in this pre-seen information, could be utilized on the exam day. So if I would quickly recap, the most important point that I would say is, please keep the company's vision, mission, and corporate values in mind when you're answering all the questions, so that whatever suggestions you are making, they are logical, they make some sense, and also keep in mind the strengths and weaknesses of the organization, so that your answers remain scenario specific. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to put up your questions.